I never thought I'd catch my wife cheating. Honestly, it never crossed my mind. We had a normal life, or at least I thought we did. Kids were in school, bills paid, weekends spent binge watching whatever series we picked. She'd started ordering food a lot, mostly late at night, and I just assumed she was indulging in some midnight cravings. I didn't think much of it. At first, it was just an occasional delivery, pizza, Thai sushi. But then the frequency increased. She'd get this special hot sauce I never tasted, extra napkins, sometimes even no packaging at all. I asked once if she wanted me to join, and she laughed it off, said she just liked eating in bed. I didn't question it. But late one night, I was up working, and I noticed the delivery guy she'd been chatting with on the app seemed familiar. Not just familiar as in, he's nice, but like he knew her too well. My gut started to twist. It wasn't immediate, but the signs were there. She'd suddenly close her phone when I walked by. Her laughter during calls sounded different, almost secretive. And the orders, they weren't just frequent, they were oddly precise. Like she had an unspoken arrangement. I tried to convince myself I was paranoid. I really did. I love her, I trusted her. But then came the night I found the message, a short text sent at 2 a.m. saying, "See you tonight, smirking face." It was from a number I didn't recognize. My heart stopped. I confronted her, but she brushed it off as a friend joking around. That's when the nagging feeling in my stomach grew impossible to ignore. Something had changed, and it wasn't just the food deliveries. I began noticing little things, the perfume I didn't recognize, her sudden interest in what I was doing while she was ordering food. By the end of that week, I knew I had to follow the trail. The night I finally did, I pretended I was asleep while she ordered her usual. The doorbell rang, again, late again. But this time I waited. I heard her greet him, her voice soft, flirtatious even. My stomach sank. I didn't want to believe it, but the words were unmistakable. I followed her, quietly, just outside. And there it was, the small rental car parked 2 blocks away. They got inside, laughing. She looked over her shoulder, smiled. Not at me, at him. Every ounce of denial I'd held on to shattered. When I finally went home, I stared at the door like it had become alien. My mind raced. Was this just one night? Or months? Years? Had I missed signs? All those late nights, the secretive smiles, the extra hot sauce. I wanted to scream, to run, to make sense of the impossible. But all I could do was sit there, paralyzed with disbelief. The next day, I confronted her. My voice shook, my hands trembled. "Who's he?" I demanded. She froze. And then, a slow, cruel smile. "You know," she said, almost teasing. I felt like the ground had opened under me. It spilled out then, the truth in fragments. She had been seeing him for months. Not just casual meetups. There were nights, mornings, texts, laughter she didn't share with me. She even said, "It's not about you, it's about what he makes me feel." I wanted to hit her. I wanted to cry. I wanted to disappear. I remember sitting there, staring, thinking about our home, the kids, the trust I'd poured into our marriage, and feeling it evaporate in an instant. I was betrayed in the most intimate, humiliating way possible. My life, as I knew it, had ended in one whispered confession that I couldn't sleep. I paced, drank, cursed myself. How did I not see this coming? I replayed every dinner, every laugh, every late-night craving, and it all twisted into something unrecognizable. I felt like a fool. She tried to explain, said he understood her in ways I couldn't. Said I'd taken her for granted. I wanted to scream that we had everything, kids, home, love, but it felt meaningless next to her words. Anger and shame clawed at me. I didn't just feel betrayed, I felt erased. I also realized I didn't know him. The delivery guy, he wasn't just some casual fling, he had become the secret she hid in plain sight. And now, Every knock at the door, every unfamiliar number, every little thing in our house reminded me of him. The intimacy we had built, gone, replaced by a silent shadow of deceit. I tried to act normal for the kids. Breakfast, school drop-off, bedtime stories. I did it all with a numb, hollow heart. At night, alone, the weight of it hit me. My wife laughed with him, flirted with him, while I existed in the same house as a stranger. I confronted her again, more aggressively this time. "Why him?" I demanded. Her reply was chilling. "Because you stopped seeing me. You stopped wanting me. He sees me." I felt a mix of rage and grief so intense it felt physical. My mind screamed at me, "You were never enough." And maybe, in some ways, I wasn't. I started questioning everything about our marriage. Every decision, every compromise, every night I stayed late at work, was it all pushing her toward him? It was devastating to consider that my life with her might have been doomed by negligence I didn't even know existed. The confrontation turned into a shouting match, voices echoing through our quiet house. I accused, she defended, tears and words collided. She tried to manipulate me, saying I was imagining things, that she deserved happiness too. But I'd seen enough. I started cataloging every sign, every message, every delivery, every smirk that had once seemed harmless. My mind became a ledger of betrayal. I wanted her to feel the same suffocating panic I felt every day. But she didn't. She was calm, almost smug, as if she'd rehearsed every response. The kids began noticing tension. I had to lie, smile, pretend. The guilt of protecting them while my own life crumbled inside was crushing. I realized the consequences weren't just emotional. They were practical, tangible, poisoning the very environment I was supposed to keep safe. The emotional toll was unbearable. I lost appetite, sleep, and any sense of control. I would sit on the couch for hours, staring at my phone, waiting for a text from her, or him. My trust had evaporated. The intimacy we shared became tainted. Every touch, every word, every routine felt like a reminder of what had been stolen. I felt rage, despair, and a hollow sadness that no therapy could immediately fix. I questioned everything I'd done wrong, everything I'd ignored. Even when she apologized, sometimes sincerely, sometimes coldly, I couldn't forgive. Not yet. Not ever fully, I think. I realized marriage wasn't just about love, it was about shared vulnerability. And she had weaponized that vulnerability against me. That thought alone made my blood run cold. I wondered if I would ever feel safe with someone again, if the home we built could ever feel like mine. We tried couples therapy for a few sessions. I went to hear her reasons, to try to salvage what I could. But she was vague, sometimes deflecting, sometimes crying. I hated the crying. It felt like manipulation. Every session ended with me questioning my sanity. The therapist asked if I could see a path forward. I couldn't. I loved her, but the betrayal was raw, bleeding through everything. Every shared joke, every routine, every night of laughter now felt like a lie I had been living in. I couldn't get the image of them together out of my head. I thought about leaving, but then I thought about the kids, about shared memories, about the life I didn't want to destroy for them. The guilt of staying, the guilt of leaving, it became a constant, grinding ache. Eventually, I found out the full extent of the affair. It wasn't just occasional dinners. They had been intimate at her apartment, hotel rooms, even during vacations I thought we'd taken together. Every piece of evidence was worse than the last. I remember holding my phone, shaking, crying, and laughing in disbelief all at once. I wanted to burn everything down. I wanted her to feel the same panic and shame I felt. But I also realized revenge wouldn't heal me. Nothing could. I felt trapped in my own home, surrounded by the remnants of what used to be our life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think. Every night I lay awake, imagining every laugh, every kiss she had given him, replaying it like a broken record. I tried talking to her again. This time, I demanded honesty. She admitted everything without hesitation. The confession was almost clinical, like she'd rehearsed it for months. "It's done," she said. "I can't stop seeing him. I'm sorry." I felt my chest collapse. My heart broke in a way I didn't know was possible. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I wanted to disappear, but I couldn't. I wanted to fight, but I knew I would lose. Every instinct told me to protect my dignity, yet I had none left. The kids were oblivious, thankfully, but I knew the fallout would reach them eventually. I wasn't just dealing with betrayal. I was dealing with the destruction of the family I had fought for, the home I had built, the life I thought was secure. I moved into a small apartment temporarily, just to breathe. The nights alone were a mixture of panic, grief, and creeping self-loathing. Every time I thought about her, about him, about what she had done, I felt my insides twist. I started journaling obsessively, trying to process the chaos. The words helped, but didn't fix anything. I realized I had been living a half-life, oblivious to the truth until it crashed down. I had been blind, naive, and now, I was broken. Even now, months later, I catch myself replaying their interactions in my mind. I can't erase it. Therapy helps, friends listen, but nothing undoes what happened. Some nights I just stare at the ceiling and think, how did love turn into this? The kids didn't know initially. I kept up appearances, pretending things were okay, smiling at breakfast, helping with homework. But I couldn't hide the tension forever. They noticed the quiet, the arguments, the absence of laughter in the house. I dreaded the day they'd confront me with questions I couldn't answer. The thought of explaining betrayal to young minds broke me. I feared the long-term damage, the way they would see relationships, trust, love. Would they grow up cynical? Suspicious? Afraid? It made me question my choices, my responsibility as a father, and whether staying silent to protect them was even fair. I realized the truth doesn't stay hidden, it just festers, shaping everyone it touches, whether we want it to or not. Eventually, she moved out, and I took back the house. It felt empty, but safe, in a way. The silence was suffocating at first, but slowly it became healing. I started reclaiming myself, small things, like cooking my own meals, staying up late without anxiety, sleeping through the night without nightmares. I didn't forgive her, not fully. I don't think I will. But I learned that life goes on, that betrayal doesn't have to define me, and that my worth isn't contingent on someone else's choices. I am learning to trust myself again. To recognize red flags, to listen to my gut, and to set boundaries. Some nights, though, when the world is quiet, I still think about him. About her. About the laughter I will never forget. And I realize some pain never truly leaves, you just carry it differently. Looking back, I know I will never forget this. I've rebuilt parts of my life, but some scars are permanent. I've learned to be more vigilant, more self-aware, and to value my intuition over blind trust. But the emotional residue remains. I sometimes wonder if she ever regrets it. I sometimes wonder if he even remembers my face. And I know that doesn't matter, the damage was done. The lesson is mine to carry. Love can be betrayed in the quietest moments, trust can be shattered by those closest to you, and the life you thought was normal can unravel in a single night. I share this not for sympathy, but as a warning. Notice the signs, trust your instincts, and don't ignore that gnawing feeling in your gut. Because once betrayal takes root, the life you knew can vanish faster than you ever imagined.